Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Oxhorn, and in this video we're going to talk about the relationship between Nick Valentine and his brother, DiMA. Throughout the game until you get to Far Harbor, Nick Valentine is really a one-of-a-kind synth. He's not as sophisticated as a Gen 3, but he has much more of a personality than most of the other Gen 2s. What's startling is that when you reach Acadia, the synth refuge of Far Harbor, we find that it is led by a strikingly familiar synth named DiMA. If you have Nick Valentine with you when you meet DiMA, the two of them have this unique exchange.
We're not answering any more questions until you play straight with us. Just who the hell are you, really? There's only one synth with that kind of face and a mind of his own, and I only see him when I look in a mirror.
Nick? It can't be you.
Don't give me that. What are you trying to pull? I've never seen you before in my life.
Please, if you're willing to give me a chance, I can explain. This all started over a century ago, when we were first created. We were prototypes, Nick. The first synths capable of independent thinking and judgment.
Keep talking.
One of the Institute's experiments had to do with how our brains could process personality. If we could handle individualized feelings and behaviors, I was allowed to develop mine based on experience. But with you, they wanted to try transferring an entire personality into you. It took several attempts before the personality imprint worked. I saw you wake up not knowing who or what you were so many times. I couldn't let them do it to you anymore. We were the only two prototypes they made. I literally saw myself in you. You were my brother, Nick. I helped you escape the Institute. We left together.
If I were your brother, I'd remember.
That's where you'd be wrong. This happened over a century ago. There's only so much memory that can fit into the prototype brains we have.
Ah, I've heard enough. I think you and I need to talk about this. Maybe not now, though.
Nick, is he really your brother?
If he is, it's news to me. Can synths even be related? Just because we're from the same assembly line, does that make us family?
Is it really possible that you wouldn't remember any of this?
You mean between the Institute failsafes, the beatings I've taken over the years, and plain old age? Or are you buying this whole "there's only so much room up there" argument? I don't know. It's not like we've got the instruction manual. I gotta think about this.
Nick, I don't need you to believe me. I'm just glad to see you again. Whenever you're ready, I'll be here. Now.
Afterwards, talk with Nick Valentine and you'll learn that he's having a hard time processing everything that he just learned.
Come on. What? Oh, sorry. Just got my head full of what DiMA was talking about. It's a bit of a shock. What do you think he is, really? Family?
Before I answer, are you okay?
Yeah, I'll keep. Don't worry. I just need to figure this all out. I can't deny that he's a synth. A prototype, like me. I spent a long time wondering if the Institute had made any other prototypes. If I was just a failure, or they gave up, or just plain got bored. I always thought I was just more of their discarded trash. Never considered that someone helped me out. Wanted me to have a shot at the outside. Helped me escape. There's got to be some kind of proof out there. What really happened between me and DiMA? I'd appreciate it if we could keep an eye out.
Of course, Nick. We'll find something.
Thanks. I know we don't have much to go on. Just keep me in mind if you find something that might give us some answers.
If you take him back to visit DiMA after this, Nick approaches DiMA with apprehension. He's still wary of him, and he doesn't quite know how to react. His gut instinct is to almost respond to anything DiMA says with hostility.
It's good to see you again, brother.
prefer we keep it to just Nick and DiMA for now.
Of course.
As we all know by now, we get the hard evidence that DiMA is telling the truth when we unlock some of DiMA's memories in the memory puzzle. The fourth memory puzzle unlocks DiMA's recollection of freeing Nick Valentine.
Memory file identification 0Z-7A4K. Converted to audio transcription. Beginning playback.
Get away from me! What the hell are you?
It's me. We escaped the Institute together. You're my brother.
I don't have a brother. The name's Nick Valentine. And no one in my family tree is a plastic skin freak.
You're just confused. Let me help.
Stay away from me! I don't want to hurt you!
Goodbye, brother.
End playback.
With this evidence in hand, you can unlock additional dialogue from Nick.
Actually, I think I already found something inside of DiMA's memories. Take a listen.
All right. Let me run this real quick. God. DiMA really did help me escape the Institute? I wasn't just tossed out with the garbage. I must have still been in a haze from one of the Institute's experiments on me. Did I really attack him? Did he really knock the daylights out of me and leave me for dead? Damn it. Why can't I remember?
You alright?
Do I look all right to you? Sorry.
This is how it starts, Nick. Next, you'll be forgetting your keys and thinking I'm your great uncle from Southie.
Yeah, you always know just what to say.
You're getting too old, Nick. Past your warranty.
Still got enough life in me for a good right hook, so don't push it.
Take it easy, Valentine. People forget things. Especially after something traumatic, like what happened between you and DiMA.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Well, I wanted proof DiMA and I had history, and I got it. Now I just gotta figure out what to do. Should I give him a chance? Try to accept him as my brother? He might just be the only other prototype synth that exists.
I guess the question is, what do you want, Nick? Do you want a brother in your life?
If I did, would I want DiMA to be that brother? I guess no one gets to choose their family, but when your family is built in a lab, well, things get weird.
Nick Valentine is vulnerable right now. By now, you have become a trusted friend to him more than just a traveling companion, and he's leaning on you to help him make a very important decision that affects the rest of his life and how he approaches family. You have three options. The first is to encourage Nick to reject DiMA.
Whatever DiMA is, he's not your brother. Keep him at arm's length, Nick.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Whatever relationship we had was over 100 years ago. I'll try to keep my distance if we're ever back in Acadia.
If you choose this option, then you miss out on all of the rest of the unique dialogue that can happen between DiMA and Nick. The next time you go and visit DiMA with Nick as your companion, Nick holds DiMA at an arm's length. He still regards the synth with caution.
Have you ever considered our unique perspective, Nick? We are free-thinking synths, but we cannot hide what we are.
The only unique perspective that's given me is the view of disgusted and suspicious faces and the occasional solid object being thrown at me.
Exactly. There is a resilience that gives us. It's something I try to impart to everyone here. How to live as what you really are, despite what others think.
Well, as long as what others think isn't, you need to be shot and put in the ground, then maybe you'll be okay.
You know, Nick, if you wanted to stay in Acadia, you'd be welcome here.
Thanks, but I've got my own place back in Diamond City.
Among humans. Here you'd be with your own kind.
I hate to break it to you, but I define my kind as people I know, that I trust.
It's good to see you again, Nick.
Yeah. Hi, DiMA. Don't mind me.
I think it's such a bummer to choose that option, because there's no real reason to in the game, and you not only miss out on a lot of really cool dialogue, but you cause there to be a permanent rift between Nick and his only relative. The second option is to encourage him to form a new relationship with his brother.
I think you'd regret it if you didn't try to get to know him better.
You're right. Maybe next time we swing by Acadia, I'll try to be a little nicer to the old Synth. Try to make up for lost time. Thanks, by the way. I wouldn't know the truth without you.
If you choose this option, the next time you bring Nick to DiMA, they really warm up to each other.
So, DiMA, look, I was hoping we could talk. I didn't want to believe you at first about us being brothers.
You don't have to apologize, Nick. I know it must have been a shock.
Yeah, well, I still don't feel proud of taking it as bad as I did. Maybe we could start over?
I'd like that. It's been good to talk to you again, Nick.
What's really cool about this option is that each time you bring Nick back to Acadia, he and DiMA have some fun conversation.
So, DiMA, I got a question. Why do you even call me Nick? Didn't you know me before the personality imprint?
We didn't have names inside the Institute. And after the personality experiments started, the only name you ever called yourself was Nick Valentine. If there's another name you'd prefer, I'd be happy to...
No, I like the name. When you wear something for a long time, it kind of seeps into you, you know?
Of course. What do you think of Acadia, Nick?
Well, living in a scientific observatory wouldn't exactly be high on my list of comfortable spots. At least that fog is far enough below.
I was talking more about our ideals. Synths as their own way of life. Not hiding from what they are.
Kind of easy for you to say that, though, isn't it? You and I, we can't pretend to be anything else.
That just means we're in the perfect position to help our kind. We can be the example in the face of adversity.
I'm not looking to be anyone's example. You help who needs help. It doesn't have to be more than that.
It's good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you too, DiMA.
Hello, Nick. How have you been?
I haven't woken up discovering any new missing parts in a while, so I call that a win.
I stopped counting the number of repairs I had decades ago. I have bad actuators, frayed wires.
Rusty joints, patched power couplings, and don't even get my secretary started whenever I tell her I literally have a screw loose.
You know, it's actually pretty nice being able to complain about this with someone who understands.
It's through these conversations that you really get to see the distinct personalities between Nick and DiMA. Even though they're both synths manufactured by the same institute and came off the exact same production line, they see the world differently. DiMA is an idealist with a cause. Freeing Nick Valentine from the Institute was the formative moment of his life. At that moment, he took a stand and said, no, humans will not enslave synths. He tried to save Nick, but ended up leaving him for dead. Ever since then, he's been trying to save every synth he could find. Maybe out of guilt, because he felt like he had failed his only brother. This moment in his life has made him altruistic. He is a synth, he wants to protect synths, he filters everything that happens to him in the world through the lens of being a synth and trying to protect synths. People who put causes first are dangerous, because people can often say or do anything and justify it in terms of the cause. Nick doesn't have a cause. He reveals his entire modus operandi when he simply says, help people who need helping. Nick is more practical. He's got his feet on the ground. He's living in the now. He's very blue collar. In another dialogue exchange, he talks about not judging people based on whether they're synth or human, but based on whether or not he can trust them. Whereas in the same conversation, DiMA reveals that he kind of thinks beings of a kind should stay with their kind, synths should stay with other synths at Acadia, and humans should stay with other humans at Diamond City. Nick is the exact opposite. He doesn't care who or what you are. If you're a good person, and if he can trust you, he's happy to live around you. The third option is my favorite option. This option encourages Nick to do what he really wants to do anyway. He's vulnerable, he's leaning on you, anything you say here can sway him one way or the other, but if you choose this third option, it forces him to look inward to finally decide what it is he really wants.
I think you already know the answer, Nick. You don't need me to tell you.
The result of this option is the same as if you encouraged him to go talk to DiMA. I think it's nice to know that in his heart of hearts, Nick Valentine really wants to warm up to his only brother. I think this entire story is really cool. It adds another layer of interest to the Far Harbor storyline, and it helps us understand the nature of synths a whole lot better. I'll go back to what I said in my Are Synths People video by saying that one of the things that distinguishes synths from robots is that synths want, whereas robots do. It's neat to learn about the different wants between Nick and DiMA. It's also cool to see these creatures that are so very clearly not human finally and unexpectedly discover that they have something that's very human. A family. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked this video on Nick and DiMA. Please subscribe for more Fallout 4 content like this. I do a range of topics from items to guides to settlements to lore and so much more. If you like what I do and you'd like to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to my private Discord server and a whole bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. And be sure to leave a comment on this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the relationship between Nick and DiMA. I read every single comment that you guys leave and I respond to the best ones. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad that you're watching. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you all very soon.